Live from the Washington, D.C. area, all empowered citizens need to know about intelligent use of resources, smart governance, inclusive communities, smart industry, and healthy, thriving urbanization. This is Smart Sustainability, the TV talk about shaping a sustainable future in the digital age with Nicolette de Vidar. Hello and welcome to Smart Sustainability. I'm Nicolette de Vidar. Thanks for joining us. As you can see, we're still broadcasting from home due to the coronavirus pandemic shutdown. Small businesses have been hit hard. In fact, a lot harder than most experts and economists had estimated at the onset of the pandemic. When going into the shelter-at-home period initially, many people thought we could simply snap out after a short period of time and go back to what was considered normal at the onset of or before the pandemic. Reality is that most businesses, if not all businesses, have to reinvent themselves. If not on all levels, definitely on most levels. What does that mean for businesses? And particularly restaurants? We talked to Wendy Hatton, a business coach who helps businesses uncover untapped revenues, and Mitra Sharif, who just launched her dream, a restaurant called Oxus 7, literally the night before the shutdown. This is what they had to say about picking yourself back up, re-strategizing, and moving forward.
Small businesses make such a big part of the US economy. I think there is a big discrepancy yet as to gauge how much they've been hit, the challenges we're going through, and what that means for the entrepreneurs and for the community, how they can support each other and really get it off the ground and go into the future. So I wanted to ask a few questions first to get in. Mitra, tell us a little bit about your restaurant, please. I know you opened 2 months ago. When was the exact start date?
Hi, first of all, I just wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I started as a meal delivery service back in last June of 2019. Mm-hmm. I started from a commercial kitchen called Chefscape in Leesburg, and they gave me the opportunity to learn a lot of things from there. But then I was asked by a lot of clients, by people that this should be a virtual, there has to be a storefront for people to be able to pick up their food. Mm-hmm. And I was looking for a space, and then I looked at a lot of space, and then spaces, the rent was high, or it didn't work out until I met a nice gentleman who found me the space, and I started moving to this phase back in last December, and took me 4 months to get it where it needed to be. My grand opening was supposed to be end of March, and this happened.
Take us back to the opening night. So when you open, can you describe the feeling that you had the night before when you actually opened your restaurant?
Yes, I was hopeful to have a ribbon cutting. I wanted to invite all the people who actually helped me to get where I was. I was grateful to so many people that I learned a lot from. And then this was my dream. I was in IT. I left IT to start something that was missing in the society. There was no Mediterranean Afghans, especially for the upcoming generation, and the elderly generation. People like my generation didn't have time to cook for our moms and dads, our parents. This was something that I wanted to offer for parents to have meal delivered to them once a week. And also something that leaves for the next generation. For example, my kids, my grandkids may not know about certain dishes and food, because if the restaurant's closed, nobody wants to pass on their recipes. They're like, either this is royalty recipe or it's my grandma's recipe. For me, it's none. I want to pass my recipes to whoever I want it, because I want this food to be on every table in every grocery store.
I'm going to get back to your dream in a second, but I do want to introduce Wendy also, because I know, Wendy, you help businesses find or tap into revenues that they overlooked or haven't really found yet.
Right.
How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this particular type of coaching for about 2 years right now. I have been coaching since 2012, but I've been doing in different niches. And so this particular one is the one that seems to be a good fit for me, and really exciting about helping people realize that they have all this money or revenue that they are leaving on the table. So I just show them different strategies and things where they can actually discover them and utilize this amount of revenue that they didn't realize that they actually had.
Worked with businesses before the Corona crisis. I kind of tend to think this was still the old world. Now we really are already transitioned. By the time this is all over, we're going out in a new world, basically.
Right.
So how do you think the strategies that you have applied for businesses to find untapped revenues are going to have to change to help businesses now, which basically many have to start from a completely different starting point to move on and find, well, actually at this point, they have to find any revenue.
Right. Well, of course, the first thing they have to think about is how can they transition or pivot their what they're doing to the online space. Just like Mitra, she was already basically doing that with with her delivery, and you have the online way of ordering food as well too. My son and daughter are both. My son's a wedding photographer. My daughter is a musician. Actually, we all are musicians, and so they have to really figure out how they're going to transition from going and doing concerts or going and doing weddings to move to the online space. So it's sort of in the transition period right now. But what I'm actually helping them and some other clients is to just plan for the end of this thing. This is going to be over at some point. So rather than sitting and waiting until it's over, then you're going to be all behind. Yeah. You start planning and then like have a deadline to work towards. Then you can focus on that, and then you still need to stay informed with what's going on, but then you don't have to focus so much on the news because it's so depressing. So if you can start thinking about creating something like a program, a coaching program, or a product, or a course, or something that you can create between now and then, so that when it's over, you've got this date that you're searching for and actually working towards, rather than when is this thing going to happen? I'm going to sit and watch some Netflix until it's done. So then that is what they can do between now and then, is just to start planning what they want to do to move forward once we get out of this stuff, out of this crisis.
Absolutely. Now, Mitra, have you noticed that you said you started out with a dream, and I'm picking up on what Wendy said, that we're going through this period where everyone reevaluates their business model, probably also to some degree refining the purpose and the mission and the why behind the why. Have you noticed from your original dream vision a shift in how you see your business move forward?
I think I'm talking about just my own perspective. I think I'm going to stick to my dream. As a woman, we have power. If we want something to happen, we can stick to it, be strong, and we all can hold each other's hand, and we can do this. And I even offered help to some other people who haven't been, I got lucky to have this already started as a virtual platform. I've offered help to other small business women and owners, especially, that I was helping them to get into the digital world with my IT background. I'm going to stick to this. This will be over, and we all going to make this through. I'm going to stick to my dream and make it work.
Yay.
Describe to us how you felt when you learned that we were basically shutting down the businesses for initial period of 2 weeks. So what was your initial reaction? So you're someone who has just started your dream, so to speak. You've launched your dream. There, it's full of excitement. You're happy to have your first clients and customers and things like this. And then shortly after, you find yourself basically confronted with a situation that says, now, first of all, it's almost like somebody has pulled down the shutters for a moment. So describe to us, what were the first things, if you remember, on that night that went through your mind?
I was shocked. I was like heartbroken. I was just like, what am I going to do? It was a dark space. I can't describe how it was. It was like a nightmare. I just sat for maybe 2 days. I was speechless. I couldn't eat, drink, nothing. I'm like, I couldn't even think beyond that. I was just like, I had a breakdown that I was just sitting there, couldn't think of anything. After 2-3 weeks, I was like, I need to shake myself. I have to continue where I left off to make it work, because if I came this far, I need to continue, because it's not only me, it's affecting the whole humanity. It's a liquid world. One's happiness and one's sadness impacts everyone.
What do you see? So Wendy, when you work with businesses right now, what do you see as the major challenges for your clients? I mean, yes, we know the monetary stuff. That's clearly challenge number one. But apart from that, I imagine all the internal things that are connected with that. What do you see as the biggest issue for clients that they grapple with in the small business space right now?
It seems like, you're,
go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to add that I can notice that, since kids are home and homeschooling is happening, so they're distracted with that. So it keeps them off of their focus on what they're really supposed to be doing for their business. So it's just that whole structure thing, the whole living at home thing that's really gotten them kind of sideswiped. Like, I have to take care of this. We have to have our little homeschooling session. I can't do this business thing that I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not able to do it anyway, so I might as well just wait. So it's kind of it's a little bit frustrating for them, because they know that they need to be doing some of these activities. They can be doing phone calls, they can be doing a lot of different things that they can continue doing online or on Zoom or whatever, but then they've got these distractions, the news, the kids running around. So that seems to be the main thing that I've been able to notice with these different businesses.
That's interesting. I do think that we really are in a time where you almost have pandemic parenting, so to speak, because people suddenly are confronted with completely different situations, and it throws up the whole the whole system. But apart from that, as an entrepreneur, if you're someone who pulls basically everything into your existence, and Mitra, I think you can talk to that, I'm sure. When you started your business, you came out of IT, you launched your dream, you do put every effort, every part of you in that business and in that dream to kind of go forward. So apart from the revenues, what are the biggest challenges for you right now?
It's so I'm a startup. A lot of people will not even, for example, if people want to go order food from outside, from a restaurant, they don't want to order from a new restaurant. They would order from a restaurant they've been ordering for a long time. So giving an opportunity and chance to a new startup is the key right now for me. It's the most obstacle. How can clients would trust me to order food from us? Because they would order from the ordinary places they've been ordering for a long time. So that's where they are.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge challenge for small businesses, particularly yours, when you just started, because it takes so much muscle in the beginning to really get established and to build your clientele and to be launched and things like that. And that alone takes time, really, in focusing on that and going forward. But then how do you, so in this situation particularly, you basically have to change your strategy in full and start from scratch?
Sort of, yes. I totally started from scratch.
Okay, yeah, that's what
Right now, it's scratch, basically.
So can you do, let's talk about, so the biggest challenge, and that's basically for new businesses, and I'm sure there are several new businesses that are in there. Another issue that might be difficult, what about the lease? I mean, you start out your business, you have the rent that you have to pay, or the lease that you have to pay, but there are no revenues. And for any new business, you know, you need to plan on, it takes a significant amount of time until you actually even break even under normal circumstances.
Very true.
So how do you deal with this?
So when I mentioned initially, I started from a commercial kitchen here. I got lucky because the gentleman who was looking for a space for me, he had a space that he let me stay. His name is Dean Zamani, which I owe him so much in my life. I can't tell you. He let me stay in using the commercial kitchen without rent.
Mm-hmm.
I got lucky in that part, but the cafe, I'm paying rent. And because of the new law, they brought the rent to 50%. Still, for someone who's not making a penny, even $1,000 is a lot of money. Even $100 is a lot of money.
It is.
But I'm still paying the rent for the cafe space, but I'm not paying for the actual commercial kitchen. They're all linked to each other. There's entries between each other. Eventually, I'll be paying 2 rents. But it's tough.
So Mitra, are you not able to take advantage of the business loan?
Yeah, I was actually going to get to that.
I'm not sure. I think that's for someone who's already. My luck is that I was going to go live on the 30th of March. I wasn't established. I don't know. I have applied. I haven't heard back. Mm-hmm. That's one of the challenges. A lot of people have applied. They don't hear back.
Yeah, I know of several cases, actually, even at the beginning, businesses that have been established that went to that, and very often they had to be in line, you know, number 725 caller for the day and things like that. I think that this is enormously stressful, and we don't talk about this enough because there's all these mainstream news about the health, but I think the effects for what it really causes on the economy and on people's lives is something that is not highlighted enough at this point.
Exactly. I'm falling into that gray area right now because I wasn't established enough to hit that spot where, so it's difficult.
What are you doing right now? Are you offering new services that you can do?
We're offering a very wonderful chef offered to come and help me. He has 35 years of experience. He said, Mitra, run the front, run your business, focus. I'm going to help you in the back. I will run the kitchen without asking me for money until I get on my feet. So we changed the menu. We are offering breakfast now. We do our own delivery. So we're covering every aspect of it. It's a restaurant now, and also we're doing the weekly meal delivery service. So right now, we're basically covering every spot we can. Breakfast, lunch, dinner on daily basis, as well as meal delivery service. We packaged in where we're, like, people can also order for weekly meals, and then they can also come and pick up lunch, breakfast, and dinner. And Ramadan started today. I'm hoping this will help me a little because I added the breakfast platters. People, Muslims, they get up at 4 o'clock to eat breakfast, and then they don't eat for another until 8 o'clock. So we're doing these breakfast platters for people to, when they come to pick up their dinner, they can also pick up the breakfast platters.
That's a great idea. How do you market it? Do you reach people?
Instagram.
Are you online? Are you on Instagram?
Just
do you
Instagram,
reach a large
Facebook.
community?
Yes. Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah.
And
so
LinkedIn a little bit.
So when you work with clients, particularly during this time, where is their biggest need for coaching?
Their biggest need is to stay focused. Just they're not able to stay focused between one session and the next. It's a lot of times they haven't done whatever it was that we talked about that they would be working on. But by the second time, I haven't been able to do this. And sometimes they say, can we meet a little bit later? I haven't been able to work on my whatever it was. So I'd say the main thing I think is focus what they're struggling with right now. Yeah, for sure. I think that's the number one thing. And they're worried about everything and the whole news and everything. So getting down to what they're actually supposed to be doing is not forefront in their mind.
Do you have clients that have applied for business loans and try to, you know, get help from the stimulus package?
So there's there's a florist that I have that she was really struggling, and I asked her if she had that, she had been able to do that, and I forwarded her some information about a business loan from a particular attorney that I had heard about, but I hadn't heard. She said thanks a lot, but I hadn't heard if she had applied or anything. So I need to reach back out to her and just see what has come up with that. But let's see. Well, actually, my son, he was able to get one of those loans at the very last minute. Remember, they ran out of money, and then I guess they're working on a new bill. But for the very first one, he was one of the last people in his bank to be able to get it. So that was kind of a touch and go kind of situation. A couple other clients have been able to get it, so it's kind of off and on. So some people do, some people don't. So we wish that it was a little bit more available and easier to attain, but it's not.
Yeah, because I can see additional challenges, because at the end of the day, this isn't free money. It is still a loan, which means that your debt to equity ratio is changing significantly for a business, no matter what size it is. So when you're a small business, as you know, you're very vulnerable to the ratio and how it really affects your overall ability to recover and go forward. Right. Can you say something to that? Have clients approached you with that and said, how do I deal with that? Just psychologically even. I mean, planning wise, yes, that's a huge thing, but even psychologically.
Psychologically, yes. So it's the whole concentrating on their actual goal. That seems to be the thing that keeps them moving, some of them moving forward. Just keeping, if you can't really control everything. So what you need to do is just to think positively and work for that goal that you have. And then in the process, just check on the different logistics and things that you need to do in order to get these loans, but still keep moving forward without getting all depressed and thinking about this is not going to work. Even if it doesn't seem like it's going to, just still keep moving forward. And then all of a sudden, maybe something will come up, something that you didn't realize was going to happen. Something positive will happen. And if something doesn't positively happen, you're still going forward. You're still looking to the end result of what it is that you want. So psychologically, I would say, if they could do some kind of meditation in the mornings, positive thinking, try to get all the negativity out of their head, it'll help them move forward much more quickly in that case, because they're not focusing on the negative, they're focusing on the positive. And
I'd
that's
be
the way to
100%
get them.
with you.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
yeah,
what has been helping me too.
Oh yeah,
That's
the meditation and yeah.
Yeah, Mitra, you're great at that kind of thing. She's always taking action, I've been so impressed with how she's been moving forward even through this trial, this time of our lives. She's just doing all these extra things, and I text her and say, how are you doing? What's happening? She goes, I've got this photographer taking pictures of my dishes and saying, I said, good for you. So I think she is someone that people can look to as someone who is just moving forward, whether or not things are going bad or not. So great, Mitra.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Mitra, let me ask you something. So when you look at, with your knowledge today, knowing what have happened and how what you've been through, how you changed how you rethought your business and things like that, would you advise someone who starts up to do something differently or to consider something in their planning that you have not done?
Yes, I made a mistake of investing money in the wrong things. I would if I listen to Andrea Curry, who was actually the person who was coaching me through the first month of when I established in Chefscape,
Yeah.
she said that I was like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. She said, Mita, are you opening a nonprofit organization, charity, or you're trying to make money? Your focus is totally on different things. You need customer. I still didn't listen to her. I went and bought fancy bags. It was, takeout boxes. Right now, I totally focused on totally different things. My advice to someone else who would start is first, focus on your product and customer. That's it. Everything else will fall into the.
And this is actually something I want to talk with both of you about too, because I think, and particularly for women entrepreneurs, I think women entrepreneurs are particularly prone to that because women are generally very mission driven, right? So you want to focus and do the mission and do the good. And very often we forget that it's a business.
Exactly.
You have to make money, and you
Yeah.
have to, and it's a good thing to make money. And I think many women kind of find themselves sometimes with the invisible fence, almost, if you want,
Exactly.
or boundary, where I think many of us have this initial or this underlying, I don't know how to say it, understanding that making money is kind of like a greedy or something.
Exactly.
Kind of look at
Yes.
this in a secondary way, when at the end of the day, though, it's a business. And I'm sure, Wendy, you encounter this a lot in your practice. What advice would you give, particularly for women entrepreneurs, to navigate that and not fall into that trap and move forward? You can have both. I mean, ideally, if you have a real purpose and a mission, you also make the money of it. But how can you, very often I've noticed, particularly with women, that we have this internal, almost it's like in the subconsciousness that kind of works and sort of says, it holds us back. How can you push through that?
That's a really great question. Yes, that is true. That us women entrepreneurs they feel like they want to help
Save
people.
The world.
Yeah, they want to help save the world, and making the money is icky and feels yucky. But if they should just kind of change their whole mindset around that, in terms of you're actually serving people, and you can't, if you don't have the income to help, you can't help more people. Like, you don't have the resources because you don't have enough money to create certain things that they need to, like courses and things, or taking courses. They don't have any income to do that. They're not going to be able to help other people. So in order to help other people, you definitely need the income so that you can have those resources to help the world. Like, everybody wants to help the world, but your mindset is more of, it should be, selling is equal service, it's not yucky or manipulative. And since we are not that type of people, it's really hard to transition into that. So I have people do a little visualization each morning. Selling equal service. It's not about a hard sell, it's about a heart sell. So get that. Good. Yeah, sort of get that mindset in there. So the main thing is mindset, for sure. So if they can, the book Think and Grow Rich, the Napoleon Hill book, he talks about auto suggestions. So if you repeat something over and over and over and over many times, then you're gonna start believing it. So if you're thinking about all these negative things, you're gonna be believing that. But law of attraction. Right. Yeah. So if you're repeating all of these empowering, positive things in your head every day, then you're going to start believing it, and then you're going to start feeling differently about making money, because it's helping people, serving people. So I have them say for 30 days this little mantra 3 times as soon as they wake up in the morning, and then right before they go to bed, because that's when their subconscious mind absorbs it the most. And so after the 30 days, then their mindset is just completely transformed. So so that's one of the things that us as women entrepreneurs can focus on, just the positive thought, for sure.
Yeah, because I think that this is a big challenge, particularly for women to kind of navigate through,
Hmm.
and they
For
kind of
sure.
get to this thing. However, I do want to ask a question. So we're really on the threshold and going into a new world. So the things we did before, you know, the way our economic system was working, the way that our focus was very bottom line driven, or had to be very bottom line driven to
Hmm.
really make the money, to have the revenue, to do the monthly payments, etc. What do you expect in this new era? I'm going to play around here a little bit, short term and medium term, to change in how we do business,
Is
and
that a
how would
question
that
for me?
affect us?
Is this for
Yeah, I'm
me
going
or
to
for?
ask you, Wendy, first, and then I'll ask Mitra.
Okay. How should we change?
What do you
Um,
think is going to change in how we do business? How would we, is there something then that we would need to change our mindset towards?
that's very interesting that you ask. So the online space, the big that's the big thing. Thank goodness for the internet. What would we do without it?
Oh my
Uh,
God, yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think one big thing is to, like right now, to start creating relationships with people. If collaborating and forming referral partners is a really important thing to do, especially in times like this, because you can help collaborating, you can help each other work on one project and receive like split the monetary rewards for that. And so this is a great time to start building relationships now, so that by the time this is over, you will already established all of these people that you're working together with.
Mhm.
So
That's a
um,
good point.
right, that's a lot of people start with well, I ask people to first look and think of the different industries that that complement their business. Like, for instance, the Barnes and Noble and Starbucks. They're like the number one type of collaboration. So you just find industries. First, think of industries that would complement with your business,
Mhm.
and then after you've got like a list of those things, then you figure out people that you might know in those particular industries that you
Mhm.
can reach out to, and then say, just have a little coffee and just talk about how the two of you could work together. And so by the time you finish this through the end of this crisis, you will have already established these relationships and
Mhm.
you'll be so far ahead. So that's what I'm trying to help people right now, is to start thinking of people that they can collaborate with. They can talk about their clients to make sure that you have the same clientele type, and it doesn't conflict with each other. Those are the best types of partnerships. So I think that's one of the number one things that people right now can start doing, is start collaborating with other people that aren't, they don't conflict with what they do, but they still have the same audience. I think that's one of the best things to be able to do. So like Mitra, like what industries do you think would be a good match for what you're doing right now? And I'm asking a question.
Yeah, that's all right. But yeah, what are you? Are you working? Are you actually looking at different collaborations, Mitra, right now?
What I am right now, I'm looking for like the third party displays. There's a disconnection. We were not ready for the digital industry for restaurants, especially. So there's a disconnect from the time the customer orders and then the kitchen staff. Some of them, they don't speak English. So there are these things that there are that missing points that we need to work on, and hopefully these challenges will be done. And my advice to whoever is all the women is to get on YouTube, look at learn how digital world works, websites, online stores, how, because we got to be ready. I don't think we will ever go back to the way things were.
Yeah, I don't. I
I
don't
don't
think
So
either.
we have to
that's
be,
not going to
yeah, that's
happen.
not going to happen. That's not going to
No.
happen. Instead of feeling sorry for ourselves, we should just get on YouTube, learn how to build online stores, self-sufficient, how to learn QuickBooks, a
Yeah.
lot of things that we can do ourselves rather paying someone else to do it. Be positive, awareness. That's what Wendy mentioned, meditation. And karma is number one thing. Good intentions, we're going to get through this. And just make every minute learn something, do something about it. The
Yeah.
digital world is where we're going.
Let's talk a little bit about what the community can do. I mean, we live in Fairfax County, and the DMV in general in Washington is a very large area. So what do you think the community could do to support and help each other to get through this, but then also to leverage each other's place? I'm going to ask you this first, Mitra.
I think we're all set. There should be a group, like how Wendy created something.
Mm-hmm.
We all should put our expertise, whatever we're good at it. And then whoever needs help, we should help each other as a group, of a circle of sisterhood.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I know something that someone else doesn't know, and maybe I need help in an area that someone else is really good at it. We should all help each other, hold hands to get through this. At the same time, trust each other in a way that I will trust you to let you help me, or I could use your service. Instead of me going help to hire someone else to do my accounting, I could get someone from my circle of sisterhood to do my accounting for me. I think
I like
the trust
this
is
idea.
number
That's
one.
a really interesting idea, a circle of sisterhood. This is a
Sisterhood.
I like
good
I
that,
think
idea.
yeah.
trust is number
For sure.
one thing.
Yes.
We should leave the walls, the boundaries, the last names, where I came from, what my nationality is. It's about trust. We're all going through this without borders and walls.
Yep.
Women, we're all connected to each other. We should just, right now, whoever needs help with building websites, online services, I'm ready to help them in any way I can, without asking for any, anything in return. Because what I do, I will get it in return in another way.
I agree with this. Now there's one question. I'm going to ask you this, Wendy,
Please.
that comes right
Sorry.
out of this. So how can we build a connectedness without being competitive? So in other words, how do we get to a place where you take, because if you're really fully connected and trusting, and really move towards collaboration, the competition aspect has no space in there. So it shifts the places a little bit. So what does that mean for people in terms of defining their role, their purpose, their place? What does that mean for businesses, and how can we get there?
So starting just what Mitra was talking about, like start a little group to collaborate and get together. Like I started this Facebook group that has all these women entrepreneurs. I think both of you are in it.
Yep.
And so it's a space for people to connect and just get together and not have any kind of competition between them. It's just for them, for support and just to get to know each other. So I think if everybody could have some kind of an online group that they could, like a mastermind or something where they can just speak their mind and not feel uncomfortable, like they're going to be judged or anything like that. And like Mitra said, it would be a great idea to put something like that together, because back to the Think and Grow Rich, more minds are better than one. Yeah. So putting all these women's minds together, that would be an amazing outcome, I think, because of all the ideas that would be coming out and the support, the offering what they have to offer to each other. That would be great. That would be an awesome situation, for sure.
I think that could also help some women to push over that threshold where they have the sales component, the making money component, because there's different people have different skills. Some of them, if you're not emotionally involved, then you see things usually a lot more objective and can really focus more on the business aspect. And then when you're emotionally really involved and you're attached to that, then that gets sometimes a little tricky. So in a mastermind group, if you want, I think that is also something that could help women to really push through exactly those personal limits and see things more emotionally detached.
For
Are
sure.
you experiencing this, Mitra?
What you just said made something as Wendy knows, I'm also doing energy therapy. Like I offer energy therapy for women. It's called Reiki. And there are a lot of women who have a desire. No one is born without any expertise. We all have something in us that we're good at.
Yes.
But
Yes.
either we're going through some phase of our lives through separation, and anxiety. We all have something that is holding us down from acting on our dream or to pursue our abilities.
Yes.
If we let go of the fear and let go of the failure, it's okay if we fail, but we have to fail in order to be successful. And I got lucky. I used this obstacle that we're going through as my failure set to learn. And everyone should think of it this way: that we failed while everything was shut down. So everyone, like the group Wendy mentioned, we all have something in us.
Yeah.
We just have to get rid of what's holding it. It's like layers of onion. When you peel each one, you get to the bottom of it. Whatever is there, we need to let go of it. Expectation, attachments, you said.
Yeah.
Then we'll get to the third layer of our whatever it is, and then we're going to see ourselves in a totally different place. I do Reiki healing. It's interesting that some of the Uber drivers who walk in, they were last week. Someone came to pick up food. She was going like this, and then we're at the face that we can't touch. There has to be distance. I asked her, "Do you mind if you turn your back to me from 6 inches? Do you trust me to send you positive Reiki healing?" She looked at me and said, "Sure." She turned her back, and then I sent Reiki. Like after 3 minutes, she turned back and said, "What did you do to me?" She sat down on a chair, and then she said, "What did you just do to me?" It's not about expectation. It's not about, we shouldn't want, as long as we don't want anything in return right now from our sisterhood.
Yes. And I think that's a key thing for people to learn.
Expectation and attachment. Get rid of it.
Yes.
And fear.
Right.
Get rid of the fear.
Right.
It's okay if we fail.
Yes.
You
That's
fail
exactly
forward.
it. Yeah, that's
Fail
exactly it. And I think that's also something to give something without expecting in return. I think from where we're going in this new era where really it only works with collaboration, that this is one of the major things that is going to be different in how we work. And I think we can see already there's so many networks coming, people networking on LinkedIn, new groups, helping each other and things like that. Now, how this plays out economically, I think this is still something that kind of we all need to see. But I think overall the trend and the tendency is totally there. Now, let me ask you, because we have a few minutes left, how could our viewers support you particularly? Where can they find you? How can they learn about your business? What can they do to really enjoy, the delightful food that you offer? And how can they support you?
They can go online and trust our food. They
Yeah.
can go online either through our restaurant, which is oxys7bistro.com, place an order, and we will do our own delivery if they don't trust Uber drivers. Because a lot of people are careful by having another person get involved between their food and by the time it gets to them. We would offer free delivery to them. We're in Fairfax County and Loudoun County. Give us a chance. And also we have the meal delivery service packages, which is that's also shown on our website. It just give us a chance.
There you go.
The chance is the key. We need the chance. That's it. Trust us and give us a chance.
Yes, the chance, the trust, the curiosity, the openness of trying something new. All
and
things
that comes back to fear.
Yes,
get rid of the fear.
Exactly.
Right.
Trust the
Exactly.
Sure.
Wendy, what would you say to women who are thinking about, I don't really know, like people who lost their jobs right now and they find themselves maybe in a position where they have to reevaluate and say, well, I really always wanted to do something particular, which I'm sure it happens to a lot of people because this is the time to go inwards and reflect, right?
Right.
What would your advice be to people who are thinking along those lines? How can they approach that, deal with that, open it up, and actually tap into that inner voice. Obviously, something is nagging, or you wouldn't be thinking about this, to bring it out.
Oh, great question. So I'm going back to the just getting your inner thoughts back to the positivity. So are you thinking maybe somebody might want to start a business during this time? Okay, so then this is another way that they can try to figure out what their passions are. What is it that they really, really want to do? How do they want to change the world, their community? This is a really good time to do that, to just reflect on what it is that you would really love to do, not thinking about this whole situation going on. How would you want to help the humankind in general? And even if your job is gone, you're still thinking about what you can do to contribute, and maybe start volunteering your time if you don't have the monetary means to contribute. Think of ways that you can contribute your time, volunteer, do some pro bono work. Like I'm also a musician. I teach clarinet lessons, and some of my students' parents got furloughed, so they're getting pro bono. So that's my contribution to the situation.
Yeah.
So that if they can just think about what their passion is and how they want to contribute to the world, maybe they can turn it into some kind of a business. And like Mitra said, go to YouTube and just look and see what they can contribute, like see what other people have done as far as starting businesses. And then they can get some really great ideas from there. YouTube has everything in it. It's like YouTube University, pretty much.
It is, definitely.
That is very, very true.
For sure. Yeah, so then by the time they're done with this, they'll probably have everything all figured out. And then they maybe they'll get their job back or something, and maybe they'll want to just pursue this passion that they discovered during this time. And that's, I think, is the main thing, and if they can reach out to other people that are doing what they want to do and maybe form relationships with them, that they can have mentors to help them out. So my little earbuds keep pulling up.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, I think that's great. And I think it's very inspiring. And I really think that a lot of people are coming to this point of really going inwards and sort of figuring out what is it really that I want to do and how do I move forward. And that will be the time to do it. So I hope our viewers got some inspiration. I also hope that we all focus on the positive and going forward. And thank you, both of you, so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
I will get in touch. I will eventually bring you in the studio. I think we'll definitely do a follow-up as soon as we're up and running.
Great.
And see where we're then. And I'm sure then our point of view probably has changed then as well.
For sure.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Good luck to all of us.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
That was it for this episode. Thanks so much for tuning in and watching. We see you next week. Have a good night.